So tell me real quick, because you said you've been proposed to twice.
Uh-huh.
So by the same by the same man?
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
And then I got Bell's palsy.
Ooh.
And so like the whole right side of my face was paralyzed.
Right.
I'm not changing for anybody. I spend so much time talking to my clients about the importance of proper nutrition outside of the gym. And the number one area of struggle is not getting enough protein. So Boss and Kevin developed Vita Hustle One superfoods for this very reason. This plant-based blend contains 86 superfood ingredients that support muscle recovery and overall well-being. It's not just about what you do in the gym, it's also about how you fuel your body. So try Vita Hustle One superfood in vanilla bean, dark cocoa, which is my fave, or superfood greens in the popular berry flavor. Use code MEAGAIN for 15% off your first order.
Hey guys, it's me again, your host Dominique, and my girl
Nature.
We are here with another episode of Me Again. Really excited. Today we're going to have some girl chat, as we always do, but it's going to be a little bit more girly chatty. But we have a really incredible guest here today. She is a mom of three, which is always my fave. She's an entrepreneur and an incredible influencer, Heather Sanders. We're so happy to have you, girl.
I'm so happy to be here with you guys, with you ladies. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Of course.
So today our topic is going to be about how to choose the right partner.
Okay.
Okay, all of that goodness. So I know that you have been in a relationship for about 13 years.
Yeah.
So tell us about that. Tell us about your man's girl and your
long
journey.
Time. Let me gas him up. Oh my gosh, I met him when I was 19 years old.
It's cute.
We met on Twitter.
Oh my goodness, me too.
Really? Yeah, come on, Twitter.
Come on, Twitter's doing
We
this
met
thing.
on Twitter. We were talking for like about a year, back and forth. He traveled a lot, so whenever he would come, he's like, I'm coming to Texas. I'm like, okay, what part? Texas is huge. He's like, I'm coming to El Paso. I'm like, well, I'm not in El Paso.
Ooh.
So when you get to Dallas, Texas, hit me up. And he did, and then ever since then, we were just like inseparable.
Oh.
I would go back and forth travel. And then one day I was crying at the airport, like, I don't want to go back. I worked a regular job in Texas. I'm like, I don't want to go back. He was like, this is the last time that you're going to have to go back. I promise you.
Aww.
And it really was. And then I moved out here. We drove. I drove 26 hours, but he flew to me. He flew to me, came and got me. We packed my car up. We drove 26 hours out here. And then I was just living with him and his friend.
Oh.
And in a big, nice house. And I was like, ooh, I made it.
Yep.
And then 2 weeks in, boom, we get kicked out. And we're literally like on the street. And I'm like, okay, what are we doing next? And I'm like, I'm not going back to Texas. My family thinks I made it. You came and got me. I'm here. I'm like with famous people. Like, what's going on? And then we went through a lot of rough times, but we made it. And we were living in a hotel. And, you know, together, I stuck with them. I stuck beside him. We traveled a lot, though. So it really wasn't that bad that we didn't have, like, a stable place to stay. But I was like, I'm not going home. Whatever you're doing, I'm down for the ride. And then that's just, we've been together ever since.
Okay, so I don't know if you were thinking about this, but for me, when you said y'all met on Twitter,
Uh-huh.
so a couple questions with that. One, were you already doing like your influencing thing, or did it just so happen that y'all had mutual friends and that's how y'all met, or like how did that even?
No, I was like, I was trying to do like my modeling thing, I guess.
Okay.
And we did have like a couple mutual friends. And I kind of slid into the DMs. I was a little...
Nope.
Oh, you
You were
slid into
out.
the DMs.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did. And I'm just like, wait, did I? Or I started following you. It was like something like that where I just was like, I'm interested, you know?
Like
And
subtly
then-
putting yourself out there.
Yeah, either I followed him or I slid into his DMs, something like that. FYI, he's actually here today, too. Thank you so much for being here, Terrell.
Okay, so that's funny because so Boss and I met, was this 11 years ago at this point? And so it's funny because we met when social media was, I felt like it was just kind of starting. Instagram was really just kind of starting.
Yeah.
And he was like unfamiliar with it and that kind of thing, like knowing how to post each other. But I remember what was funny was the first post that he posted me on his page, and then the first post that I posted him on my page.
Aww.
And at the time, it was like all the DMs, people were like, no way, that kind of thing. But it's just funny to see how like early social media days, boyfriend, girlfriends interacting, and then to now, right? Like our relationships are so almost public in a way. And I know that you've built kind of like a big public persona with your man and your family. So what is that like now, right? Coming from Texas, not small town girl, but Texas girl to LA, and now having your whole kind of life
in the light. Yeah.
I love it. I don't mind it. I wasn't doing anything in Texas, and I'm like, I am from a small town. I love where I'm from. I love the big family that I come from, from the South. I really do. And as I get older, I really do appreciate it more, because I was just like a kid, like, I'm ready to get out of here. This country ass town, like, I'm ready to go. Like, I want to be something big. And yeah, I mean, I've just never had a problem with it. It's never affected me. Like, it's never, there has been times that it's affected me and I've pulled back, but I enjoy it. My kids enjoy it. He enjoys it. And it's fine. Like, ever since we met too, we're our first post on Instagram as well. I still have it till this day. If you scroll all the way down my Instagram, it's like me and him.
All blurry.
And
with
terrible
the filter.
quality.
Yeah, it's so funny. But we've just been, we've just always been open with our relationship. And I've had boyfriends in the past, and nobody ever wanted to like claim you or anything. So when he wanted to like, this is my woman, this is my girl, like, and posting me, and I was just like, okay, I love it. And it's just always been like that. And that's how we kind of like grew together, and people are like, oh, that's Heather and Terrell. Like, we're just like a team. I don't know. I'm like, that's my best friend. Like,
I love that.
My whole adult life with this person,
We all kind of have that in common, to where I first met Boss, I was 21.
Okay.
I met my boyfriend at, it's kind of similar to you. It was November 1st, 2013 to be exact, when he DM'd me.
Wow.
And then we started dating in 2014. We kind of took a little time to get to know each other and stuff like that. So very similar. I feel like all of us kind of entwined.
We have something in common.
Yeah.
So with that, choosing the right partner, how did you know that, okay, these are the qualities that I like in him. This is the man for me?
Because he was just like super strong. He was like, he had a strong mind, and that's something that I really didn't have at the time. And he like instilled confidence in me, and he still does that to this day. He's on my team. Like, he's always like, Team Heather, whatever is best for Heather, whatever we have to do to make Heather happy, that's what we're gonna do. He's funny. He makes me laugh all day. Like, he's just the best. And he kind of just reminds me of my dad with like, taking control, taking care of like the family. And he has a daughter before me, and I just saw how he treated his daughter and how good a dad he was. And those are just all things that like, resonate with me, and I'll never forget. And I was like, I'm going to have his babies. Yeah. I'm going to have his baby for sure. I just knew.
I love that.
And you just know. And I was young, but I feel like I started like, dating early. I don't want to say I was fast, but I was like, so I felt like when I met him, I'm like, okay, this is exactly what I want. I know this is what I want. I don't have to go try to find it anywhere else.
Right.
Yeah. So I just knew.
You said something that kind of resonated with me. You said he reminds you a lot like your father. Do you feel the same about Boss and your father?
So what's funny is when I think about them, they have different identities, right? They're like two different people
1000%.
in a way. But then the feeling that you have of being protected, right, of security, that feeling does remind me of my dad. You know what I mean? And then there's sometimes that I just joke with him. It's like, my dad used to always be running around the city, like, what's going on over here? Stopping. He got to see what's happening. And Boss will do that. He'll be riding around. He's like, I'm about to go see what's happening over there in that house.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I'm like, oh, that's giving me my dad. But that, I think the main thing is that feeling of security and calmness that you feel when they're around is something that was important to me. And early on when we first started dating, I remember he was the first person, when you talk about who you've dated in the past and now, why you chose your partner, where I felt like he was a grown man, right? He wanted to prepare with me a future together.
Right.
And like what our potential could be like as a family and like his providership. And I think that my identity has changed a lot because of his alpha or his like manliness. Because I always thought like, oh, I'm gonna be having to work 60 hours a week and I wanted to be an attorney and all of this different stuff. But then he came in and was like, yo, this is the different dynamic we have going on now. So we probably wouldn't be sitting here doing a podcast together if that was the case. But it was definitely his strength, similar to you, that kind of like attracted me to him. You know what I mean? So what about you? I
agree.
Did you, with your boyfriend?
I feel like we were both very young in a sense. We were both, he was first year in college. I was a senior in high school. So it really resonates with me because he reminds me a lot like my father. And they say you end up, like a guy is going to end up with somebody very similar to his mom and vice versa for a woman. And I think that, for him, he does have like that protector sense, that, strong suit, very, he's going to let you know. He's going to let you know how he feels. He's going to help the situation. It's very, I don't know. When we got together very young, I just feel like
different than the young boys you were used to.
1000%. He was very adamant about what he wanted, how he wanted it. I was the one playing games, and he was like, "All right, I'm done."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Wait, no, don't go! Like, don't leave! Like, I was joking. Like, come back."
Well, you had to chase that man, didn't you?
Just a little bit. He was chasing me for too long, and then I was like, I was kind of giving him like the runaround, and it was like, "Come on! Like, either we doing this or we're not." So I feel like that. Like, I was like, "Okay, you're push. You're strong. Like the strong sense of it. Like the constant." Because you're not used to, especially at a young age, you're not used to the consistency. You're not used to like someone consistently being like there, like, hello, I'm here, like, I want to give this a shot. It's more so, especially when you're young, it's like, niggas is playing.
Right. So wait, we're talking about the things that we were attracted to and all that good stuff. What are red flags, I would say, even at present day, right? Because women are listening to this, and I always tell a few of my girlfriends, I won't put one out, but I always tell like my girlfriends who are single, like when they're dating someone and they say something, I'm like, ooh, that sounds crazy, but they're in the mix of it, and they're not seeing certain red flags or things that they can tolerate or not tolerate. So what are things that you guys feel like, okay, this is what I will tolerate, this is what I won't tolerate? What you tolerated with him back then, or that you may not tolerate with now, like being 15 years later.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. What you think?
I would say a narcissist. I do not like a narcissist. Like, he's Team Heather. I don't feel like if you're a narcissist and you only care about you and it's all about you, every situation is only about you, I'm out of here. Like, because you have to, it's two people in a relationship.
Like, compromise in a sense, meet each other halfway.
Yeah, you have to meet each other halfway. You have to think about the other person, like always. So narcissistic is definitely a red flag.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
Right?
That's a bad one. And I think present day, it's kind of one of those things where people get a hold of something and then they keep diving into it. Narcissistic personality disorder is one of those things that everyone like talks about nowadays.
It's big.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing, I'm like, there's a lot of narcissistic folks out there.
Yeah.
Like, people really can become consumed about themselves. And then really it's like those around them are non-factors. There's just like energy boosters for the person.
Yeah, that's it. And if you can't energy boost me, then just get out of my face.
That
horrible.
sounds crazy.
That's horrible. Like, you don't want to give me nothing, no love.
Right.
What would be another one?
Back then, as a 19-year-old, like, what was a red flag for you?
Shit.
Because it's like things don't matter as much, right? But
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, he was just like talking to me crazy. He had like the worst mouth. And I'm like, is it a California thing or something? Like, why you keep calling me the B word like this? And I would accept it, you know? And as I get older, I'm like, you're not about to be calling me that. That's out. But as a 19-year-old, I was like, oh, okay. I don't know. Like, whatever. But, and just like, I don't know. I think that's the only thing that I would say. That's the only thing I can remember. Dang.
Yeah.
But when I got with him, I was like, who are you talking to on the phone that's talking to you like that? Right. And just like, why do you want to talk to this person that's talking to you like that? And he was kind of mean to me, but I feel like my dad was mean. Mm-hmm. And he was very like stern and like mean and had like attitude problem. So I'm just like, I was kind of used to it, you know? And I think when a boy likes you or a man likes you, some are like, you know, a kid in school, like, I'm going to pick on you. I'm going to be mean to you. And then he was like, oh, I love you. And then it was fine. But in those talking stages when we first met each other, he was so mean to me. Oh, no. I'm like, why are you so mean? And I like it. I don't like this. But now I like it. But now I'm like, no, you can't be mean to me. You can't call me on my name. Right. Like, it's just, you know, certain things as we grow.
I have a question. Do you feel like since you got together at 19, that's a baby. You're not an adult at all. Do you feel like from like 19-year-old Heather, and not sure how old you are now, but I'm going to say a fine in her 30s.
I'll be 34 on Friday, tomorrow.
Oh, happy birthday. Thank you. Are you coming to the gym?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be there at 6 a.m.
Oh, 6 a.m. No.
Because I have a busy day tomorrow. Right. So I'm like, I need to get in there.
As long as you're getting your birthday workout in.
Yeah, I'm going to.
But yeah, since you got into a relationship so young, did you see Heather change throughout your duration of your relationship? And how did your hubby adjust, in a sense, to like the new Heather now, in a sense? Did you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're always kind of evolving. You're not the same Heather you were at 19. Mm-mm. You learn things, you grow, and, you know, how did you guys adjust to that?
He adapts well, and he helps me too. Like, this is like certain things that you should change about yourself. I think that was one of the questions in there they sent me, V. But like, is it a problem with your partner asking you to change? Mm-hmm. And I don't think so, because ever since I've met him, he's like, hey, maybe you should, you know, do this different, or you should like approach this different, or maybe you should just try to say it like this and not like that. And he's always been really good through all of my changes. And I've went through a lot. I know he's like, I took that boy through hell, because I've just been through so many changes with running my own business. Like, I didn't go to school for it. Like, I ran into so many trials and tribulations, and just, I had so many attitudes, and I was just crying, trying to figure it out. I went through postpartum depression too. Like, I had 3 kids, and I just feel like when you go through so many changes like that, he experiences them with me, so he understands, and he's like walking each step with me. So he adapts well, I think. Nice. He's not just like leaving me out here and just like, oh, you changed, like I'm out. You know, he's like with me. Like, okay, this is how we're going to go through this, get through this. Now we're here.
Like embracing the mature, the new. Not even the new, because it's you. It's just you're evolving.
Yeah, exactly.
To a better human being.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to get through like all of those changes that you went through too, but it's so funny when you say the change element, right? I remember Boss and I, like, we go to couples therapy. Like, I just think it's a great thing to do, to stay on the same page at least, you know? But I remember in one of I think it was premarital, I was saying, you know, this is this, and he doesn't do this, and, you know, I'm looking for this, and, you know, my love language, right, is I receive this way, and he's acts of service, you know, he's that kind of guy, lights are on type of man. And he's like, I just feel like she's just trying to change me. Like, he didn't feel like I was accepting him for who he is, right? But I think what you said, it's so important where women, I feel like, are more willing oftentimes in relationships to sacrifice or mold themselves for their man. Sure. You know what I mean? And in that process, we often like lose ourselves. And so it's a breath of fresh air really to hear that like your partner is someone who is open and willing to change with you and adapt with you, because it really isn't the, like, I don't like you as a person, you need to change, get out of my life. But you're going through so many things in life, and you need certain things in life where you need that support, right? You can't stay stagnant, and I'm going through all of these different changes. We have to adjust to each other. And it goes both ways.
And I
so
think
I like that.
I do too. I think the word change that's the big problem in a sense, because people look at it like, I'm not changing for anybody, but you don't want to stay the same.
Right.
Because if you stay the same, like, you're not growing. There's nothing there. Like, you're just going to be the same exact human. Like, you're not growing, nothing.
Right.
So I do feel like it is looked at negatively, but I feel like we need to start turning it around where it's like, I'm changing for the better in a sense. I'm still me. Morals are still standing high. Values are still standing high. But I'm growing into this new version of myself. And it's not, and it's also where it's like, when you're with a partner, I'm not trying to change you, but we adapt to each other.
Right.
Like, I want you to stay, I want you to continue with your morals and your values, but also listen to me and what I need, because we're two different humans. So although you may not be big on affection and...
Oh, I'm big on affection, baby girl.
I'm sure you're very big on affection, but like you were saying, like Boss was saying, like, you know, changing you. But like, if one person's like big on affection and the other person's more big on active services, there's the disconnect right there. And that's where you learn your partner. Okay, well, my partner likes more affection. I'm not that affectionate, but I can give that affection, and vice versa. I'm really affectionate, but I know my partner likes acts of service. So you do make those shifts in a sense, but it's not, you're not changing you. You're just working together with a human.
Yep.
You know?
Exactly. Just working together.
Yeah.
And he is not affectionate, and I'm not affectionate either. It's crazy.
So both of y'all like this.
What's your love language?
Oh my gosh, what's my love language? I mean, just being there for me, I would say. Just being there. I don't need you to like kiss me every time we separate, or say I love you every time we separate. But sometimes, now that I'm getting older, I do kind of, I'm like, I need you to say you love me before I go to sleep. I need to kiss you before we go to sleep. But as far as just like, oh, if I'm cooking in the kitchen, you don't got to come all up on me. Like, I don't need that. I'm like, get off me, bro. Like, you don't know why I'm like that. But he's not like that either. Sometimes I want it, and then I'm like, because I don't think because I've ever really had it like that. Like, we've never really just been like that. I don't know. People are like, y'all are so weird. But we do sometimes. What would you say?
Barely like you.
Barely. No, it's I'll play therapist real quick.
Okay.
Something that both Boss and I really resonated with in therapy when we were talking about that aspect of change is this, and this is what she said is, I speak English, okay? You speak Spanish. Okay, I'm not trying to get you to only speak English, right? I just want you to speak a little bit of English.
Right.
And then I'll speak a little bit of Spanish.
Right.
Because it is true. It's almost like a dialect. It's like, if we don't understand each other, well, we got to figure out just a few words that we can kind of, you know what I mean? And that's the thing. It's it's like almost like making it a little bit better, like just fine tuning yourself a little bit
Exactly.
more.
I like that analogy.
And so it's not really change. It's just like making the other partner happy or comfortable.
Yeah.
just being more considerate.
But y'all,
Yeah.
all three of y'all, you, Boss, and y'all are in the same category. I mean, there used to be times where I would be laying on Boss, and he'd be like, get off. And I'm like, what do you mean, get off? I'm just cuddling with you. Now he like pulls me over, and he wants to cuddle. So I've kind of like turned him out a bit, because he's like, come on over here. You don't want to be on me. And I'm like, don't forget how you started this thing.
You're so sweet though,
Oh, yeah.
and Boss is so crazy. I'm like, how do you
Opposites
have
attract.
I was about to say,
Opposites attract.
the same thing. Opposites attract.
No, for sure.
Girl, now I'm sitting here wondering why my kids are tantruming out on me. I'm like, oh, that's your daddy right there.
Because you're so sweet and calm,
Oh,
and you just have like
thanks.
a calm spirit, and he's just like 10, crazy.
24/7.
Well, I only see him in the gym, but that's
That's him.
right. All
That's a
day.
great representation
Yeah.
of his, even with business, like he is 10 toes down, he's grinding, like he's straight to the point,
Yeah.
straightforward, and that's it. Let's start talking about like, what was your first moment, like we call it me again moment, where you're like, okay, wow, this is not 19-year-old Heather anymore. In this relationship, it's not 19-year-old Heather anymore, like individually, like, was it when you started opening your business? Was it kids? Like, when was that first moment you're like, okay, I'm changing, I'm evolving?
I'd probably say when I started my business, I feel like that's what a time that really, really made me who I am today. And I struggled so much opening my own business, you know, like he gave me $500 and he was like, let's go try to do this. Let's go buy some pieces. I went downtown LA, tried to buy some pieces, and I turned it into like an empire, like an iconic place with just $500. And I feel like I was like on my high horse a little bit because I was like, ooh, I can do this, and like I really don't need you. Like I can do this on my own. But I've always needed him. You know, I know that now. I always needed him. But at a time I was like, oh, I really don't like need you. I got this. And I liked that. I liked moving on my own. And I would say I was like the alpha for a little bit. I met him as the alpha, and I rode that a little bit. But then I caught my own wave, and I was like, no, I'm an alpha.
Yep.
And I can move like this, and I can do that. And I learned a lot about myself. I'm a lot like my dad too. And I'm just like really strong. I'm a go-getter. Like I'm a hustler. I'm a go-get-it no matter what. And now he is kind of like on his come up. It's so crazy because when we fight and stuff, and I'm like, well, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And he's like, well, it's not always going to be like that. You know, whatever, the tables always turn. So now the tables are turning, and he's like really big, and he has his podcast, and it's really successful. And I'm kind of having to like step down a little bit and like, not step down, but my business, I just closed my store on Melrose.
Oh, okay.
So I'm kind of like, I've went through a lot the last 2 years.
That's been around forever.
It's been, it still is online, but the actual brick and mortar store I don't have.
Okay.
But it's made me less busy, and it's freed up more time for my kids and for him and for myself. And I needed that. And I'm like, dang, I've needed this time, because I was just so like, oh, I have to get my business to I have to keep doing this. Like, I have to be there every day. But now his business is like the main thing. And I love that. I'm like, I can step down, and I can be, not so alpha, I guess, and support you and I don't know. I'm still trying to control everything. I'm just like, oh, so what's going on here? Let me do your schedule. I just need that's just how I am. I just need a job or something.
Are you ready to elevate your mac and cheese game to a whole new level of deliciousness and nutrition? Look no further, because Goodles has arrived. It doesn't just taste good, but it's the new healthy mac and cheese I feed my boys, including my husband. Goodles has changed the way you think about noodles with their clean ingredients and packing each box full of 21 nutrients from organic plants, 14 grams of protein, and 7 grams of fiber per serving, and prebiotics to support your gut health. Goodles currently comes in 11 different flavors, including a vegan mac and 2 gluten-free options. They're the first box mac and cheese ever to receive the Clean Label Purity Award certification. That means that their final product has been tested by a third party for over 400 contaminants, and they determined Goodles met their highest standards. Goodles is also a low glycemic index food, so it gives you steady energy instead of a carb crash. Say goodbye to bland, uninspired pasta dishes. Goodles is here to shake things up. Goodles are your go-to noodles that are not only tasty, but also packed with goodness. And trust us, it's not just for kids. Goodles is a hit with the whole family. To learn more, visit goodles.com today. You might be thinking of this too. It reminds me of last season, we had Vanessa Spencer on. I don't know if you're familiar with who she is, but she's married to Chris Spencer, and he's like a writer, was an actor on Jamie Foxx show a few times, like just different things. But like the GOATs in the game, right? And she was is a producer. But there was a transition to where she's like, okay, I'm at home now with the kids. I just had these 2 kids. I'm at home. And she said, I'm the CEO of the Spencer household, right? And that became like her job. And in that breath, it really felt good with me. It resonated with me because I used to be the same way. Only child, get up, everything was about me. The way I move, the way I do this. I'm going to get all this stuff accomplished. I was extracurricular this, hobbies this. I got to go here, not sleeping much. So then it turned into like, I'm with my husband. That was the first phase, or with my boyfriend at the time, was the first phase of like, okay, my life is changing. I need to be available to him. And it almost was like, kind of like massaged me into like where I'm at now. You know what I mean? He's this alpha male. Our personalities are clearly clashing. Something's got to give. And then now I have the kids where it's like, okay, sit down. You're at home, girl. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do anything for yourself. And when we had it back to back to back, it was even crazier. But to your point, it was like a perspective change that I had to have where it's like, although I'm not feeling the old value that I used to have as far as like I'm bringing in all this money or I'm, accomplishing and being productive in my day the way that I thought I was going to be, I had to rewire my mind to saying, okay, my productivity is here, right? I'm going to take on these tasks at home or these tasks with the kids and I'm going to be the CEO, right, of my house until that transitions another time to where eventually when the kids are older and you start your own thing again or the next project happens. But like, I would encourage you for the same thing. And I just think it's a really great thing. It's because sometimes women feel like we don't have value, especially nowadays. It's like back in the day, it used to be a valuable woman was holding it down.
Take me back to the days.
But now we feel like modern women feels like we got to do everything in order to have value. You know what I mean?
And I watched my mom do that. I watched my mom work really hard. Both my mom and my dad worked really hard. So I never thought it was a problem. I'm like, I'll work. I'll pay bills. I don't care. That's all I know. Like, that's fine with me. And I enjoyed doing it. I loved it. But now, the last 2 years, I've just been going through my store being closed, going through closing it, just those things, having a new baby, and I've got to stay home. Like, I don't have to go to work every day, and I would cry because it's change, and I really like to do the same thing every day. And he's like, this is beautiful for you. Like, you don't love this? Like, you don't have to, you're not stressed anymore. Like, you don't have to worry about this, worry about that. Like, your workload is like taken off of you, 1,000 times, He's like, Heather, this is beautiful. You get to stay at home, pick your kids up from school. And I'm like, yeah, it is. Like, this is, okay, I can get used to this life. And I love it. And I'm finding new things to do every day. Like you said, like, okay, I can do this with my kids and I don't have to have my nanny here 5 days a week. Like, you take 2 days off, I'll take the 2 days. And it's beautiful. It's lovely. I get to do podcasts here with you guys. Like, I'm so happy. And I'm like, okay, you can take that. You can work. You can do it. And he loves it too because he held it down. He was like, you're crazy. I worked my whole 9 months, but he held it down. I would have babies spit him out. He was watching them. The best dad. Like, he's just the best dad. He was at home. Or if we wanted to bring the kids to work with us, he would watch them. Like, you go, you don't worry about it. I got him. And I know he probably got over that too. Yeah. But that's before we could have a nanny. So
how did that place a strain at all in your guys' relationship?
I was going to ask the same exact question.
Because I don't think it's so natural, right, for men to say, I'll be the caregiver. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's definitely not natural in this house,
Yeah.
So I operate without, and then when he steps in for like, okay, I'm going to do the bedtime, put them to sleep tonight, or I'm going to change the diaper, which I don't think, that's never really. But whenever he steps in as like, hey, let me take a little bit of that caregiving off of your hands, I roll with that, but it's not the most natural thing, right? So like, how did that make him feel? How did that make you feel? Was there stress on it?
No, he enjoyed it. And I was like, it's so helpful. Please.
Yes.
Because but I'm just like, I want to be at work. It's not like I was out partying in the streets. I was at work. He knew what I was doing. And still, I would still help, but he's just always had that. Even with his daughter, she lived with us for like 4 or 5 years. She lived with us, and I just saw him being an active dad. He wanted to do that. And when he didn't have anything going on at the time, he was like, I don't care. He wasn't like playing video games or out with his friends. He was like, if I don't have anything going on right now, I'm going to take care of the kids. And he's always done it with such grace. He never cared. I didn't mind. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But now, yeah, exactly. But now, he's like, I'm not doing no bath. This. I'm too busy. I have to do this. And I'm like, I love that for you because you did it for such a long time. Like, it's nothing. I got it, you know? And I enjoy it too because I'm like, I worked so late. I would be working and not giving my babies bath, like not being home for bath time by 8. I would, you know? And it's like, I miss those times. Now, with my third baby, I'm like, I want to experience every single thing that I missed out on with my other two. Even though I was there, I have those memories, but not like every single day hustling, grinding, you know? And so with my third baby, I'm like, I'm experiencing all of this. Like, and I don't have to worry about anything. And it's been great. It's been lovely. Now I'm like, I need to have one more.
Well, girl, if you want to spend any more time at bath time, come on over here. Okay, we got 3 baths between the hours of 5 and 6. So go ahead. I'm taking any shifts.
Right. I'll come help you out, girl.
It's very refreshing in a sense to like hear your situation and how you guys manage, because I have like a very similar upbringing. When I was growing up, my mom was the one that was going and working, and my father was staying at home with us. He would cook for us, entertain us, do the whole 9 yards, because it just made sense.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't, like, even if you asked him to this day, it was like, no, I wanted to do that. Like, I wanted to be there for my kids. And then when we got older, it was like, all right, well, I'm going to go to work now.
Yeah.
Like, it's now time for me to go ahead and hit the streets, go to work, because y'all are okay.
Yeah.
So I feel like it, and I think that people hearing this, we're in a different time.
Yeah.
We're not back in our grandparents' time where that was like the norm. I feel like now it's shifting so much that it could be it could be either or in a sense. And women in a sense have more value. And they're noticing that value in a sense, and they want to move off that value. But it's like having that happy medium, because a lot of men still have that alpha, I want to be all, provider, this, that, and the third. And, it's like women, you kind of have to find that like happy medium and balance between the two. But it's nice to know that it's there for sure.
I want to go through, because we were talking about that, having the babies, and you mentioned that you went through a little bit of postpartum. How was that going through postpartum, running your business, having to run your business, you know what I mean? Grind doesn't stop, and going through that.
It was the hardest time of my life. I will never forget those years of my life.
After every kid for you?
After my first baby, it was fine. I was just starting. Well, my business was just starting to take off. I had a beautiful pregnancy with her, but my business just started to take off, I would say, right when I had her in 2015. So the second baby, oh, golly, my business was like booming, and it needed all hands on deck. So I was there every day, worked nine till I was 9 months pregnant, swollen, I didn't care though. I was there happy. That made me happy. I had a really bad delivery. And I call him my miracle baby because he didn't come out breathing. He was like stuck. They had to like cut me. It's like a horror story, but they had to like cut me to like pull him out. He was supposed to be a C-section. He was a 10-pound baby.
Ooh.
10-pound
You grew a
baby.
10-pound baby.
I'm like, what the heck? And my first baby was 6 pounds. I'm like, what happened? So he put a lot on me. So right when he came into this world, he put a lot on me, and my world just started changing. And I was just like, okay, I'm not feeling right. I can't get up and go back to work. Like, because with my first baby, I was like, okay, you're coming with me. Like, we're here. Like, that's what it was. With him, I'm like, I can't. And I felt like he's such a blessing, and he is such a miracle baby. I need to be here with him. So I wanted to be at home a lot. And I I didn't want to work and I didn't want to hang out with any friends. And I just wanted to be with my baby, give him all my attention. So I was doing that. And then I got Bell's palsy.
Ooh.
And so like the whole right side of my face was paralyzed.
Right.
Yeah, I had to like tape my eyes shut, couldn't drink out of a water bottle. Like my lip was like, I had to talk like that, like for 6 months after
goodness.
him. So I'm like, at this point, my life is just over.
So it was induced by the postpartum, like the after pregnancy, or how did you get Bell's
They
palsy?
said that it could be caused by stress and pregnancy. But I was going through a lot of stress with my business. I was going through a lot of stress with like taxes. It was like, because I was making so much money in the beginning and I didn't know what I was doing. So then when I was really successful, they're like, boom, I'm about to take all your money,
Pay
all
these
these
taxes.
this, why are you not doing this? And that's when I really understood business and how to do it and the importance of your LLC, your trademark, like everything, because people were trying to come after me because I had something successful.
Right.
So I had to like fight for that too. It was just like a lot that I was going through. I lost friends. Like I went through a whole friend group change after him. And it was just hard. That was probably the hardest part of my life.
Yep.
And it took me forever to like get back to work again. It took me forever to get myself back. Still never fully got myself back from him.
What were things that you did to try and bounce back? Focus on yourself again. Like what were those things? I know you work out now, but
Yeah.
like at the time.
Working out was big for me. And just like working too.
Having that outlet.
Yeah, because that was just like my getaway. It was kind of like therapeutic for me. Like I can go ship orders or I can, whatever I was doing for the day, it was just therapeutic for me. But what I was doing wasn't working, like things that I was doing. So I had to step into a whole different side of Heather. I had to start like meditating. I went to therapy. I started doing yoga, like different things, eating different, eating healthy. Cause I'm like, what is happening with this? You know? I'm like, I don't want to go out. Like I didn't want to go anywhere. Cause I'm like, I didn't post on Instagram. That's my whole life.
Right.
Like we were recording YouTube videos. I'm like, don't put that camera in my face. It was just like, and Terrell's like, you can't be like this forever. He's like, we have to change some stuff. But everything I was reading with Bell's palsy is like, you have to just make lifestyle changes.
Right.
Like you have to stop stressing. You have to like meditate. It was giving me all those things. So I tried those, but my face still wasn't coming back.
Wow.
I felt better. I felt better throughout the day. But when I would look in the mirror, I'm like, what the heck? I still look crazy like
Didn't
this.
recognize yourself?
Yeah, at all. And I'm overweight. I gained so much weight with my second son. Like I was the biggest I've ever been. My face is all messed up. I thought my life was over. I'm like, I'm never going back to work. Because I go into my store, like people are there. People want to take pictures with me, talk to me. You know, how'd you do it? Like I got those people all day. So I'm like, I can't go up there. I can't go to work and be up there looking like this.
Wow.
And then Terrell was up one night and he was like watching all these YouTube videos and just Googling stuff. And he's like, we have to go do acupuncture.
Oh.
We have to do acupuncture. Let's go try it. And this lady I met in Calabasas, she was like, wait, how long have you had this? She's like, why haven't you came and saw me sooner? But she did the acupuncture on my face and brought my face back in like 2 months. And I'm like, I've dealt with this going on 7 months, just like trying to make lifestyle changes. And you brought my face back in like a month and a half, 2 months. And so I was just, she helped me so much.
I still have not tried acupuncture, and I'm interested in trying it.
You should go. It is like amazing. Even if you just want to go, just for like relaxation, I guess, or just like stress relief. It's amazing.
Do you keep it in your regimen now?
I don't. I should though. At least like once a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They say it helps with hormones and like all that kind of stuff. I was nervous with the needles, but I'm hearing that, you barely feel it.
Yeah, her
No,
hair's
it's
like little hairs. Like
I'm going to give you her info. Her name is Dr. Koken. She is
Right here.
Yeah, right here in Calabasas. She is the best. No pain. She was sticking those needles in my face because she was like, I'm bringing these muscles back to life. Then she hooked the needles up to like the electric like current stuff. And so it would like make my muscles move. Yeah.
Like the STEM machine.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
And so my face was just doing this all day for an hour, but it was so worth it. But yeah, that was the hardest time of my life. Didn't think I'd ever make out of that, but I definitely did.
Persevered.
Yeah, for sure. And I didn't even want to have my third baby because I'm like, I'm still not myself. How am I going to bring another life into this world? And I'm still feeling like this about myself. So depressed, overweight, like just lost, like going through all this with my business. Like, and I called my mom and I'm like, before I even told anybody, I'm like, oh, I'm pregnant again, but I don't know if I'm going to have it. And she's like, what? She's like, you don't know if you're going to have it. She's like, that's not even an option. She's like, you're not 16. She's like, you've had 2 kids. Like, you can't not have this one.
Right.
And I'm just like, well, I'm just so fat. And I'm just like, I feel so horrible. Like, and I know it's just going to be even worse if I get pregnant again. And she's like, but you'll get through it. And each pregnancy is different. And, you know, you'll make it through. She was
Right.
like, you're having the baby, though. I'm like, okay, I'm having the baby. And then I told Terrell, and he was like, you are not having that baby. What? Why would you do that? Like, because he's the one that gets it all. He gets all of me.
He had PTSD. It was like, oh,
Yeah,
wait, you're not
he's
doing
like,
that again.
yeah, and how my son, the labor with my son, he's like traumatized still to this day. He was so traumatized, but yeah, he's like, that's not happening. And I had my third baby, and I'm the best I've ever been. Like, I'm the best Heather. This is my best Heather phase ever.
Yep. Third time's a charm.
Yeah, third time's a charm. And I'm like, if I didn't listen to my mom, or if I didn't call and get her opinion on that, I probably would have just been like, I'm going to get an
Wow.
abortion. And that's so sad, you know? And this baby really, like, she's made me appreciate life.
Yep.
She has just made me appreciate life. She is such a blessing. I'm like, she completes our family. I'm like, wow, what I've done without you, little girl.
Oh.
Like, you're just the best. And you're just so easy.
Yep.
Like, came out like an angel. You're just here. Like, you've always been here with
Yeah.
us. It's just crazy.
I completely
love
resonate
that.
with that. You know, the husband, I mean, same with Boss. It's like when we got pregnant with Cruz, every time I got pregnant was after breastfeeding. So whatever the hormones are doing,
Yeah.
they're hormoning, because literally
Be
got
careful.
pregnant. I know. Got pregnant as soon as I got done breastfeeding. The third time, each time it was like deja vu. And he was like, I can't go through this again.
Yeah.
Like, I was just now getting back into my groove, and he's like, nah. Like, he didn't tell me to, you know, go have an abortion or anything like that, but he was like, he was in denial. Like, there's no way, like, we can go through all of this. He's like, he told me, he's like, I don't really want to deal with you. Like, I felt so sad about that. I'm like, deal with me. But it is a lot,
Yeah.
you know, it puts a strain on the relationship.
It
Yeah.
does.
I mean, you have to work on that. But, you know, I'm like, we're in it for life, so we got to figure this out.
Yeah.
And now I feel the same way. It's like Cruz is here. He's 6 months now, and I'm like, you're the completion. I just love you. Like,
Yeah.
he's my favorite son right now.
Yeah,
because he's
same.
just-
My little baby's my favorite right
yeah,
now.
I'm like, until eventually, you know, they start doing the other stuff and getting into things. But for right now, I'm like, he
Right.
was exactly what we needed. You
Yeah.
know, the third boy, and that's it. So I completely understand that.
And those times are so hard, and you feel like you're never gonna get over it. When is this gonna end? When are we gonna be over it? And then one day it's just like it's over, and then you forget, you know. So it's worth it for sure.
Okay, so we're having some questions here. The
Peanut Gallery.
Okay, they want to address the elephant on social media on why do you get so much pushback on getting married?
Okay.
So you're
what's the pe-
engaged.
Like the elephant in the room.
Gallery.
Oh, y'all are the peanut gallery. Okay.
Gallery.
Oh, okay.
And so on social media.
So folks over here trying to be nosy, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
So you're engaged. Do you plan on getting married? Do you know when the right time is? What's your whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why everybody's so pressed about me being married. But I feel like, because they're like, oh, y'all are like my auntie and uncle. Like, I've like known y'all for so long because since social media, we've just been together. I've got proposed to twice. I have a ring. I feel like we're married. Like, it's just no paper signed. And I just feel like me and him are just like a team, and we're best friends, and it's forever going to be that. And we've chased different things and gone through so many different things in life. And the thing that I was chasing was not marriage. Like I was like, we have to own a house. Like I was just going after certain things. I'm like, I'm not spending my money on this wedding. And I do want to have a big wedding, a nice wedding. And I don't know. We just haven't done it yet.
So tell me real quick, because you said you've been proposed to twice.
Uh-huh.
So by the same man.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. You're like, girl, these men are out here proposing to me.
I know.
But no. So tell me both times he proposed to you.
So when I first got here, he went to Fred Siegel and bought me like a little fake ring. I didn't know it was fake at the time. I'm like, boy, we don't even have nowhere to stay. And I have this ring, but I liked it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to just say it's a promise ring. I kind of low-key knew that it wasn't, you know. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, he asked me to marry him, took me to the beach. And I'm probably like 21 at the time. I was out here for a couple years. And I'm like, he's trying to lock me down out here. I'm in LA. He's like, oh, you're not going nowhere.
To the streets.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, because you know, like, when anybody comes out, it's like fresh meat. Yes, who's this new girl on the scene?
And we were around, like, you know, people.
He wants you to have that ring on your
finger. He's like, no, this is mine.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I was like, yeah, I'm yours. Like, whatever. We're engaged. And then he was like, we started making money. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, okay, I'm going to upgrade your ring. And asked me to marry him again on my birthday in 2017. And that's where I have this ring. And then I just never planned it. And he's like, you know, you're supposed to plan the wedding and you're supposed to do all this stuff. And I'm like, I didn't know that.
That's what I was going to ask too. Is he like, all right, are we going to get married yet?
Or
is it like mutual?
It's just mutual. Like I said, I'm like, I don't know. I've just never been like, if I sit down, I'm really organized. I love to do that type of stuff. If I really just sit down, like, let's plan this wedding, let's do it, I could do it. But what I think that I truly want to do is have a nice country wedding with all my family in Texas. My dad has like 30 acres, a lake on there. But all of our LA friends have to buy their flight and come to Texas. And he's just acting like that's such a big thing to do. I'm like, destination weddings are
a thing.
And that's not too far at all.
And that's Texas. And the flight's probably cheap because it's right there.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm either going to do that or I'm going to like go elope and just do something with my kids and him. That's probably what it'll be.
That's cute.
You know?
And then you can have like, you know,
something.
the
party.
Anniversary, like a big reception. Or even like, you know, like 10 years after the big wedding, like, you know, people get remarried. You could do it the way you want to do it.
All of our friends have seen us together for so long, and they're like, y'all are still together. Like, y'all have to show, y'all are like what real love is. You have to lead by example. You have to give us a wedding. All of my friends are like, you have to, Heather. I'm like, I'll give y'all a reception. I'll give y'all something.
I mean, if it's intimate between you guys, truly, you guys are basically married, 100%. But, and it's like, again, I always talk about this. Like, we talk about the modern woman and, like, modern society. They're, like, expecting something from you guys, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like what makes sense for you guys is what makes sense for you guys. You know, you guys are together. You guys have committed to your family, your kids, your businesses. And I feel like, shoot, everybody needs to mind the damn business.
Yeah, I know.
Literally.
And we went viral on TikTok because I posted like 14 years together. We have like 4 businesses that we created. Like 3 kids living the dream.
Right.
And that just went crazy.
They're
Everybody's
like, not a dream.
like, you not even married yet. Why he won't marry you? Why you, like, what's wrong with you? Like,
The
he don't want to
Twitter
marry you.
fingers.
And everybody just has such a strong opinion on like why I should be married or why I'm not. And so many people, like, I'm like, wow, y'all really care this much that I'm not married.
At this point, I feel like it happens when you guys are ready. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, again, I feel like people are always so
Judgmental on
they wanna be in
anybody
everyone's
else's
business.
life. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
they
like,
do. And it really never bothered me. It really never bothered me. But now it's bothering me a little bit because so many people are like, have such an issue. Even like his podcast fans, like, they're just like, want to know why we're not married. Or they're like, he doesn't like you like that? Or do you not like him like that? Or like, what is
What's the underlying
I'm
issues,
just like,
guys?
nothing. We just haven't done it yet.
Okay, and
Yeah,
so what
which
if
is
I come
okay.
out and tell you guys, yeah, we don't like each other? So now what are you guys gonna say?
Now what?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Like it's like people always have things to say. It's like just.
But I
yap,
feel
yap,
like
yap.
2024, 2025, maybe it'll happen. It'll happen. We're
all
gonna
right,
figure
Heather.
out some things.
I'm getting elope energy from you. Right
I am
now.
getting a little
So
energy
true.
from you too.
My,
and I
my
think,
best friend tells me that too. She's like, just go get eloped, Heather. I feel that. That's what you need to do.
yeah, and I think that it takes the stress off of it all. Like,
Boss did the same thing. So I do event planning. I work with Bonnie Walker. She's been in the industry for like 35 years. I've taken a break, but kind of getting back into it now. And so it was the same thing. I was planning on all these weddings, and then Boss and I, we got married or engaged at 4 years. So we had like a year and a half to almost 2 year engagement. And around that year, he was kind of like, so you about to start planning our wedding or not? You know, like, what's the deal? And he says that. He didn't say that, but he definitely did. I'm like, I'm not making this up. He was kind of like giving me the nudge to like,
Hurry
let's go,
it up.
girl.
Hurry it up.
So now we're married, and, you know, there's different things I feel like that just naturally come when you're married, I think.
What do you feel like is the different things between, because you guys were together for quite a while before you even got married. What do you feel like switched up?
Yeah,
the
I
moment
feel
you guys got married?
like, you know, subliminally, I don't think it was like intentional, but I think men sometimes do feel like you're mine, you know, now.
Yeah.
And it kind of changed the direction of like, it's like, yo, you're my wife. You got it, you know, it's like that conversation.
Yeah.
Like, you ain't just my girlfriend or my fiance who's in trial.
Right.
Like, you're my wife, so this is what happens. And there was like a little adjustment. There was like a weird like 6 month phase of like, okay, this is like a different situation. But I think because we were together so much or so long before, it really was better. Everything was better. You know what I mean? You do have a little bit more comfort of like if shit hits the fan, and we're like doing estate planning for the kids, and it's nice to
Yeah.
have like that comfort in it.
For sure.
But yeah, like on a personal level, it was kind of like, I'm like, well, damn, I was just last month you was cool with this, but now you're not, you know? So that's a funny part, but you know, do you, girl?
Yeah.
Thank
Whatever
you.
makes you happy.
Yeah.
There ain't nobody's living in your house.
Are you
but
married?
No,
Okay.
we're not married.
What advice would you give me on marriage? Do you have any?
I feel like, you know, we have similar circumstances. You had so much that I even learned from with like changing and evolving, and you have kids and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, it's not really much, right? But I would just say, you know, with Boss, my situation, him being more alpha and that kind of thing is, and me living like the marriage life and with the kids, it's kind of more so just supporting him, really. And it
Yeah.
seems like you guys are kind of transitioning into that phase where he's kind of doing his thing. And it's like, I just try and be the best support system, the best sense of peace at home. Like, I'm going to be the CEO of this house, right?
I
And so
love
when you
that.
come in, things are in order. It's
Yeah.
not a house of chaos. This is not that kind of thing. But for the time being of where we're at now, I'm going to build up this family, this Everline family. Dominique is building that up. You go do your thing out there, and
I
I got
love
everything
that.
under control here. And so, you know, I think that's kind of what I would say. But, you know, the kids, all that stuff, you already been through that, you know. But,
Yeah.
you know, don't be scared. You know, I feel like you know your partner. You know
Yeah,
what
for
you're going
sure.
to get out of it. And if you're comfortable, and we, you know, Boss and I were both comfortable, and we took that leap, and it was probably the best thing that we ever did, right? Because
Yeah.
now I got my boys, and, you know,
Yeah.
and now we're moving on to a different phase of like, hey, the kids are out the way. Now let's raise them up, and like, let's do our thing. So I don't know.
Fun.
It feels good. It feels great to have that security, you know,
Yeah.
long term. And to know, like, a big thing is to know, like, yo, we're in this. If shit hits the fan, me and you are together.
Yeah.
Like, there's no, oh, I'm out.
Right.
You know, it's not that kind of thing. Like, me and you are committed.
Yeah.
It's like-
And see, I'm so traumatized because everybody that I know that has gotten married has gotten a divorce.
No.
And it's so sad. I would say literally everybody in my family except one uncle and one aunt are still married to the people that, you know, I know. But everybody else, my cousins, people that have gotten married around me, friends, everybody gets a divorce. I'm like, I'm not getting married and getting a divorce.
And that's my thing. That's what we also agreed on is like, this is a great actual, not that anybody wants to hear advice from me.
We want to hear all the advice from you, Dominique.
But I do say, like, a common theme with Boss and I in all phases of our life and all different elements is like, run your race, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm not doing anything for anyone else. We're not getting married because of anybody else.
Right.
He wasn't going to ask me to get engaged because everybody was getting married.
Right.
Like, we had to be on our own path, running our own race. Just because everybody's buying this Chanel bag, we ain't buying Chanel bags. We're not there. Just because everybody got this kind of car, we're not
Right.
buying there and pulling up to an apartment. You know what I
Right.
mean? Especially in this industry, like, run your race. And with that, you get to the most authentic decision. And it's genuine. And it means something. It's not a decision off of pressure. It's not a decision because everyone's yapping on Instagram. It's a decision because you came there together.
Yeah.
And I really feel like that's an element that Boss and I have where we both agreed on, and that has proven to withstand kind of the test of time.
Right.
Because we confidently have gone through things together by ourselves. Agreed between the both of us, and not everybody just, what's going on around us. And so that could be another piece of advice with marriage. It's like, just stay the course, with what you're true to. So
Love that.
that's my
I
thing.
like that. We did want that advice, by the way.
Yeah, we do.
Anyways, but thank you so much, girl, for
Thank
being on the
you.
show. Hearing your story again, women resonating with all different types of women, all different types of phases. I can't wait to see what's next for you and what your next
Yes.
phase of life is.
Yeah.
And that's all good. So I'm so happy to have you here, girl.
Thank
Thank you,
for having
Heather.
me.
And
Thank
you better
you.
live it up tomorrow. Don't do
Okay,
shit.
hold on, guys.
Kick your feet up, live it up, do
Cheers,
something.
cheers, cheers.
I will. Thank you. Cheers.
My shit is
Hold
melting.
up.
Oh, y'all was drinking. I just was letting my shit melt.